My name's Mahoney. I play Olivia on The Walking Dead.
My name is also Mahoney, and I play Olivia on The Walking Dead. I'm Michael Koske, and I play a lot of zombies on The Walking Dead. So you've seen me die many times.
Very exciting. Very exciting.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Not supposed to play around.
Okay, walk first. Walk.
The way these panels work is we just kind of like do like questions and answers, more of a discussion sort of thing. So people can ask their burning questions of our lovely guests, and they will answer them probably. Anybody have any burning questions or not burning questions, smoldering questions?
How did you feel about your arc in the show?
Well, so far, so good. I really think that it's incredible that I did 2 episodes in 5, and then in 6 they let me really transform and end up as a part of that big zombie killing spree in Alexandria. I really enjoyed that. Yeah, and I'm glad they chose machete, because people had asked me before, you know, what do you think your weapon would be? Would it be a gun since you're in the army? I said, no, he's a chef. You know, so it would be a knife, a really big knife. So yeah, I'm excited about that. I'm excited to see what's going to happen if I make it past the finale. We'll see.
That was very vague. Oh dear.
There's a scene in the last episode that they cut that I can't tell you about, but that would have melted the internet. So we'll see if they move it to this episode or they move it to next season. We'll see.
I have a question about kind of along the same lines. That was the first time we saw your character go at it, or
Yeah.
have something go. When they told you that was what was going to happen, either when they handed you the script or whatever like that, did you have to go through any special training, or did they just say, just make it look like you're fighting for your life? Or,
Yeah.
Since your character is not one that goes out and does a whole lot, did they give you any kind of special, this is what you do? Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you guys know, my background is in acting. I have a bachelor's and a master's in acting. And so I've done stage combat and a bunch of that. So I knew a little bit about what to do, and then we have great stunt coordinators on set who specifically help you choreograph. You know, you're going to stop here, you're going to axe this guy, jump over this guy. You know, it gets very specific, which I love. You know, I love being given what to do. So no special training specifically yet. I'm going to start doing some gun training, just for me, because I've never actually fired a gun, which you saw happen on the show too. That was real life. So I'm planning to get myself out to a gun range soon and shoot a variety of guns just to kind of get that feel. So I won't be able to feel it, see if I ever have to do it, if I live past today.
Were you handed a summary of what your character is like when you did the show, or were you able to pretty much develop it as you wanted to?
The way it worked was, you guys probably know this, but when you audition, you don't know the name of the character. The piece that they give you to audition with is not from the real script. So I found out I booked it on a Friday and I had to be in it on Sunday. I didn't know the name of my character or anything about it. And I'm one of those actors who does insane amounts of research and homework and stuff. Like, you should see my homework notebooks. Nerd! So it was like I was beside myself because I didn't know that. So, but when I got to set, my first thing was a costume fitting with Yulin Womble, love her, and she knew all about Olivia. So she started to fill me in, I was taking notes, and after that I got to meet with Greg Nicotero, and who's the executive producer, who also created all the zombie makeup, it's his design, and Scott Gimple. And they gave me a limited kind of background on Olivia, which was, you know, she worked in a coffee shop, which you guys hear in her first episode, she says that, for a number of years. They said that she was in school for hotel and hospitality training. So what I did after that is what I always do with characters. I was already reading the comic books, so I went back to the comic books and drew what I could from that about who she was. And then for me as an actor, I want to know everything about who they are. So any piece of jewelry that I'm wearing, I know where it came from. I know exactly her whole journey when she realized the apocalypse was the apocalypse, that it was not just this weird illness. Who has died in her family, what family she had. So all of that I wanted to know, because the reason I know who I am is because I've been me for 39 years. So for a character to really embody them and be truthful, I think it's important to know everything about them.
What do you think about the evolution from like season 1 and it became this big craze to where it is now and where you fit in? What do you think
Yeah.
about that?
I think Olivia is kind of a return to innocence for everybody, you know? She's been sheltered. Greg Butero, I think one of the first things they said to me was, she came very early on in the apocalypse to Alexandria. My feeling is they said she walked there. And that she, it probably took her a couple days walking, so it's not that far, So she's sheltered. She dealt with a few zombies on the way there. I don't think she killed anybody on the way there. I just think she avoided as much as she could. So I think that Olivia is kind of a return to innocence, along with the other Alexandrians, where we get to kind of go back and experience again what the people who haven't yet had to survive, like Daryl. And I got kind of bummed, I have to say, with how impatient people were with the Alexandrians. And I think that when you follow a show, you start to see yourself as the heroes and the bad guys that are really making it and surviving, when in truth, most of us would be like the Alexandrians if a zombie apocalypse hit. So I think that they're developing very fast. I think they're adapting very fast, and the ones who aren't are dead. So yeah, I like that return to innocence. Actually, one of the things that they said to me was, they give you their weapons. And the last people they gave their weapons to tried to eat them. So he said there must be something about you as Olivia that's very trustworthy. And they just, they must, right off the bat, look at you and just know we can trust her. So that's what I think. I think we're a little bit of a return to innocence and a safe haven for our survivors to catch their breath, maybe get a little humanity back. Because if we all survive a zombie apocalypse, but our humanity's gone, what's life? What's the point?
Are you close friends with any of the other cast members here?
Melissa and I are close. Melissa and I wouldn't say very close because we're working so hard, and I don't live in Atlanta, I live in New Orleans, so when I'm not working, I'm home with my family. I just really adore her. She was so welcoming to me right off the bat. Steve Yoon was too, but they all are. That's the thing, is that I've never, and I say this I say it all the time, it's the nicest bunch of people I've ever worked with across the board. They're so kind and giving to each other. And
yeah, it even goes for us. I mean, they know us by name. I mean, a lot of times they won't even know us except for in makeup. And somehow a lot of them will recognize us like by walks or by how we stand and stuff. And they'll come over and talk to us and hang out for a little bit. And then we go over all our scenes and stuff. So yeah, everybody's super nice.
When they do the knife thing in the head, is that CGI or are they some sort of collapsible board?
No, a lot of CGI, they'll have like little red dots like
Yeah.
on the hilt, and then they'll just come in later and add it in. I did the scene with Michael Rooker when he first comes back, and you see that he's got the bayonet in hand, and I come out of the woods and I go to bite him on the neck, and he reaches up and stabs me in the chin, and it just had a little red dot where the handle of the bayonet was, and I had to plant my chin there. And so it's kind of funny because one of the takes, he decided he's going to mess with me. He starts like talking with his hands, so because he's supposed to just lay me down and keep on talking, but he's just talking, waving his hands around, cussing at them, and I'm stuck on his head the whole time. Yeah, most of it, it's just all CGI stuff. They'll have either like half a blade or no blade at all, and then come in and finish the rest of it.
or rubber weapon.
I've been stabbed with a rubber crowbar.
I have a question for you. You've done how many different zombies on the show?
I lost track.
Lots of. Have they ever presented one to you where you're like, I don't want to put that kind of stuff on me? Like maybe the water well zombie from season 2, as disgusting as that was, and I know you played.
No, I'm jealous because some of the guys got to do like the really crazy stuff, like the ones that were like in the sewer or.
The ones that got lit on fire.
Yeah, all of those. I get like gory stuff, but I started a little bit little bit earlier on, and I didn't do anything last season. And of course, last season they bring in all these amazing walkers, and all my friends are doing it. I'm so jealous.
Gonna come back.
Yeah, hopefully I'll be back next season, and I'll get to do some of the crazy stuff. But yeah, no, all of us. So we go in and we're like so excited about anything that they do. Like when I found out that I was gonna get stabbed by the bayonet hand, we all actually were on set going through a reading. They're kind of walking through everything it's gonna do, and they're like. And it's funny because there's like 3 of us walkers, and they're going through, and one guy got shot in the eye with an arrow, and he jumped up, I want to be that one. And I was sitting there going, sure, I mean, I want to be that one. And he's like, okay, well then the last guy's going to get stabbed by Merle with a bayonet hand. And we looked at each other and went, I was like, wait a minute, that's me! And of course he got mad. We loved it. We're game for pretty much anything that they want to do.
This side of the room?
About how long does it take you to do your
It depends. If it's like just head and hands, it could be an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then everything else is just covered by wardrobe. But if they do like full body stuff, it could be like 4 to 6 hours.
Do you want to know how long it takes for me to get in my makeup? Approximately 7 minutes and 30 seconds.
Very nice. Very nice. That's great. I love it.
This side of the room?
Yes.
Did you go to Walker College and all that
Yeah,
when you got started?
No, yeah, I did. I did it at the beginning of season 2. And that was my first episode was the premiere for season 2. And the Walker School, it was just zombie school then. Now they call it Zombie University.
Right.
It's upgraded. But it's pretty much our audition because everybody submits and they pick a bunch of people that they want. And we go in, and it's kind of silly. You feel kind of awkward when I did it because I really didn't know who half the people were, but I knew the hero. And so you're in front of like a bunch of really important people, and they like, all right, show us your best zombie. And you're like, now? Let's go. But yeah, there's like 2 groups of us, and they kind of separated us because there's so many. And my group went first, and they locked us in one of the wardrobe closets in one of the studios. So we're all in there, and we had to like bust out. And we, bless you, we decided while we were in there that we were going to attack the other people and we busted out. So we broke out and swarmed in on them, and Nick and Carol loved it. And it was just a lot of fun. They want everybody, it's mainly so everybody kind of acts the same and looks the same, so we're all kind of uniform, so we didn't have anybody doing any weird stuff. We had one girl, she came in like in the middle of season 2, but she didn't do walkers, zombie school in. And we're coming out of the woods, we're chasing Andrea when the first scene was shown. And she comes out of the woods, she's behind a tree is where her mark is, and she comes out and she's like, and we're all like, what are you doing? She did it like twice before, they're like, no, you can't do that, keep your arms down.
The pavement zombies. We've heard horror stories of being a pavement zombie. Were you involved in any of that?
No, I wasn't. That's another one I wish I was. My buddy Chris was one of those, and he said it was horrendous because they dug a hole in the pavement, and so they're in there, and they've got like a board that kind of covers the rest of them where all the body part is, and they're in there just like sweating and just dying, and they were so miserable, but it looked so cool, and of course I'm like, I would want to do that. I would die for the art. I don't know.
No question.
No question.
What was the best zombie you've seen on the show so far? Like your favorite zombie death on the scene so far?
Wow, there's so many.
I like the one from the quarry this season, the one who like is walking and goes through 2 pieces through the 2 trucks, like.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah, that was my buddy Kevin was that one.
I love that one.
Yeah,
That was
crazy.
great.
Yeah, a lot of them really great. There's so many. Like in season 3, there were some of the Riot Squad guys where Rick knocks one down and he like stabs him in the face, and the face comes off. It's just the skull, like that was kind of cool. But it kind of sucked because the guy that had the makeup for them, they went through an amazing amount of time where like if he took the gas mask off, he had like the little strips where like the skin had been burned away and all this like drippy stuff on his face, and it looked amazing. I remember we broke for lunch and we'd gone into the cafeteria and everybody's standing around. I remember Norma Reed is just standing in front of him because the guy that played him is a big guy named Andy, a real big tall guy. Norman's just like staring up and looking at him, and everybody's like really quiet watching what's going on. And he's like, man, that's really, and he cuts. That's really fucked up. And we're all like busted up laughing. But it was kind of gross because we're all standing around eating this. Put off his face.
I can't sit next to you guys when I eat. It's not because I'm trying to be a snob, like I can't eat. I can't.
Are there also mechanical zombies?
Yeah, they have all different kinds. I mean, they have a lot of the practical effects and a lot of the special effects stuff. But they do have a lot of puppets and stuff.
Yeah, like the ones who were lit on fire in Alexandria this season,
Yeah.
several of those were puppets because they were lit on fire.
Yeah, Herschel's head was a puppet. I mean, they had actually somebody controlling his eyes and his mouth.
You are amazing.
I'm actually a puppet right now.
Someone of the bag.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
So is this season already shot and you're not starting next season, or?
Yeah, we shoot generally from like May to November.
So once it starts airing in October, we're still shooting.
Yeah, yeah. We usually shoot half the season, take a little hiatus, and then shoot the other half.
You do it out in Atlanta,
Say that
in the
again?
summers in Atlanta?
I'm from New Orleans. The summers in Atlanta are for a piece of cake for me. New Orleans is so much worse.
Yeah.
Granted, I'm in the armory and pantry, so most of the time, so.
Yeah, try being covered head to toe in makeup.
I know, I'm sure it's much worse for other people.
In the woods. No. I love the heat. So it doesn't-
I love the heat. I hate the cold. The cold is cold. I feel like I'm gonna die.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like the food is all gonna die, and we're just all gonna die. That's how I feel about cold. But the heat, I'm like, I can always take that layer off, you know?
Some cold layers on.
I know, but
When
you
you're cold, you
can.
can keep
More,
putting
but
shirts
the
But
on.
if
heat really takes so much off.
put some, spray yourself with a hose. Cool off.
I will never mind the heat. I don't mind it at all.
I love the heat. The humid heat too.
Did you think you would still be doing this?
Me?
From when it started?
No, honestly, I don't
Did you think it would actually go as long as it?
Yeah, I don't think any of us had any clue that it was going to be as big as it was. Because when I started on season 2, it really hadn't hit how big
Right.
season 1 was. And as we were filming, it was just still going crazy. And we just started hearing about like it just rerunning and just how amazing it was, just how big it was. And so many people were fans. And so when we started filming season 2, I remember season 2's budget only had the same budget for season 1. And we had twice as many episodes. So there's a lot of political stuff going on, and they weren't going to give us any more budget. But then once the season 2 premiere aired, and it just blew every record out of the water, AMC's like, here, take whatever money you want.
So everybody on set now shows up in limos, coming to work.
I wish.
Do you, in your personal opinion, do you feel that the character Negan is going to portray its role like as well as the comic book did?
I can only hope.
You guys,
I think the censors might have a problem with
buckle your safety belts.
that.
There's
With actual Negan.
There's obviously some things they can't do.
But if you who reads the comic books? Anybody here read the comic books? Yes, if you've read the comic books, you know what a nightmare Negan is. And I'm real interesting how they're gonna pull that language off on television.
Like I said, I didn't work the episode, but I had heard that they filmed like both ways. Once with him.
Because you're only allowed so many per episode, so you know, the first episode where I had where I'm like, I keep my cell phone, you know, one of these days it's gonna ring and creak and I say the other word for butt, because there's children in the audience. What was supposed to be the S word, and they're like, we have to change that, because we've already used up too many curse words in that episode. So that's why I said that instead of the original writing, so I don't know how they're gonna do it with me.
Yeah, I had heard, I don't know if it's true, they really get in touch with the networks and somehow they approved, I mean, I don't know.
Take some fun.
Yeah, just go ahead.
In
We're just gonna
advance.
pay you up in advance. Every other word in this episode is gonna be a tough word.
Now, quick question. So far this season, they have really been able to keep things under wraps. They've done really well as far as no spoilers getting out, especially with Negan, as you know, you've seen so little. And that's kind of really awesome in this day and age of internet and spoilers around every corner. Obviously, there's a lot of work that goes into that, but do y'all like have to sign special
Oh, yeah.
scripts? And do they do multicolor scripts like they did for Lost and stuff like that?
Well, Walker's,
Watermarked.
yeah, we normally we aren't given the script, but sometimes they'll give us one to kind of read over what's going through the scene and stuff. But yeah, every day you show up, for every episode you sign them out, so
I signed one for every season.
I didn't know they like had, you know, crowds of people out around.
We do.
Like on some
Okay.
shows.
We
you know,
do.
And you got, they,
We had people
no
hanging
cell
from the
phones and
trees.
stuff like that.
In the tree, with cameras hanging from the trees, in the little wooden area.
we
where
will
you
film
have-
out in the most remote location, like there's no way anybody's gonna find us, and people show up. I'm like, how did you know where we were?
Right.
Like, we didn't know it till we got here and they put us on a van and drove us in, and you guys were waiting for us.
I actually had a friend of mine who was working in Atlanta this past year, and he was on a job, and y'all just happened to be filming like right near him. So he posted a picture on Facebook. It was like just of some building.
What is his name?
Oh.
Speak loudly into my lapel.
Oh, if I can only remember. But seriously, he was just like, I'm just working here, and saw a film crew right down the road, and he found out later it was The Walking Dead. So.
You had a question.
My question has to do with that is how did the town take y'all in? Do they treat y'all special, or y'all just one of them now? And are y'all way out filming off away from the communities and stuff? And then you said that people probably don't kind of know.
Well, Alexandria is actually like right in the middle of the town.
Yeah,
of
I mean,
Sonoma.
that's a little town, Sonoya, and it's like, when you come into Main Street, there was only one Main Street. Those streets, 2 blocks long, and then there's, Alexandria, so it's right there. So every day when we drive into work, we drive past, you know, if we go in and have lunch somewhere, they're very sweet.
Yeah, most of the townspeople have accepted it, but you're gonna have the fans that show up daily, waiting for someone like Ann to walk into the coffee shop.
Probably not so much me. Maybe, oh my God! Maybe after this season, maybe more so. What was the, we actually have a couple families that live in Alexandria. They actually own the homes, some of the homes that are in that complex. So we'll be there and they'll be on their porch with their little glass of wine. Yeah.
Are you under contract per season, or are you under contract for longer? They know your character's gonna be there
Yeah.
for 5 seasons.
It depends, it's kind of boring talk, but I'll tell you. There's series regulars and then there's guest stars, and then there's like recurring, and it's kind of going down the tiers. Season regulars, guest stars, recurring, day players. So the only people who are contracted for more than 1 year at a time, but it can change at any moment, are the series regulars. Guest stars like me, I find out by the episode. So, yeah. And then, under that, it's the same way. They find out by the episode.
And the walkers, are you under some sort of
No,
contract?
not really. I mean, they'll call us like, hey, can you come in on Tuesday? Yeah, sure. And then they may use us every day for a couple weeks, and then maybe like a month that goes by that they don't use us. And, I mean, there's like a core group of walkers that they use for a lot of close-up stuff. And if there's like big scenes, then they'll bring in just like average extras that kind of come in.
And Alexandria's scene heads, so.
Yeah.
Have y'all had, this happens more in the movies than it does on TV, but in some zombie movies, you'll get big name stars will play zombies just to, I think, have y'all had any of those? I mean, not to drop names or nothing.
No, there's been a few. Scott Ian from Anthrax has been walked on the show.
Isn't Chris Hardwick the one that's a bunch as a walker?
I've never seen that he was.
The guy who did, and the guy who hosts Talking Dead, sometimes comes, Greg Nicotero.
Yeah, Nick
as
Taylor.
zombies.
I knew you could tell.
He does at least one season. He'll do it. Then he had a football player. I can't remember his name. He came in. He was one of the walkers. There's a few other people. I know the guys that started the Walker Soccer Convention. They actually brought them in as walkers for an episode. Yeah, Scott Ian was pretty crazy because we did. He's actually done it twice because we did a webisode back in season 2 where they kind of showed how Bicycle Girl zombie kind of came about.
Yeah.
And he was one of the walkers in there. We had a scene together, and then I tried to get him along. And then I think season 5 he was walking that way as well. Oh, did I play? There's been a few, but I think one of my favorites was in season 3. They actually did me as a tribute walker to Flyboy from Dawn of the Dead, and I think it was fun. It was cool because I was like one of the first tribute walkers. I felt bad though because the character has like long hair, and I had kind of long shaggy hair, and I finally cut it, and then they called me in because I had the long shaggy hair, and I walked in with short hair, and they're like, "You cut your hair?" And I'm like, "Yeah." "No, we were gonna do Flyboy." And I'm like, "Sorry." But no, I think it was fun. One, because it was the walker, but two, they treated me like a rock star that night because I was Flyboy, and Nick and Terrell, when I finally came out to set, they were like radioing ahead. Mr. Koski's on his way to set. And I'm like, "Mr. Koske, I come walking out, and he's like giggling his butt off. We took so many pictures of him and I together, where he's like biting the bite mark on my neck, and we were recreating some of the old famous Flyboy pictures, and they kept having to like break, "You have to film." And I'm like, "Okay." And then every time we break, we'd do more pictures, and he'd hold a picture up, and he'd have me like kind of be like, "Now tip your head a little bit more," and my head's like twisted over. And I mean, I had my own trailer. I had a golf cart to go back and forth to my trailer. My trailer was like full of gummy bears because I knew I loved gummy bears. And I was like, "This is great." The next day I come walking in like, "Mr. Koski's here." And they're like, "Mike, go to holding and just wait." I'm like, "What?" Yesterday I was Mr. Koske. But that was probably one of my favorites just because I was a rock star that day.
You hear a lot of stories about actors who are on the show who character gets killed off, and the actor or actress is really upset. You know, they really like to be on the show and weren't expecting it. Have y'all had any experiences of that kind of stuff? People being really upset about just being, having to leave the show and having to leave the family. Everybody says, they like a family. Y'all know of anyone that's been really sad about leaving and you can kind of see that?
I've been sad about a couple of the Alexandrians, like Aaron. Is that real name? I can't remember. That's a real name. What's a character name?
Aaron's a character.
Aaron. Yeah, Aaron, who was like friends with Carol. Yeah. What was her name? Holly? I thought it sounds terrible, but we like all.
But it's funny because everybody used to say Aaron was
No, not Aaron.
Ross.
Aaron.
Ross.
Yeah, I was sad about her. Because I just really liked her. You know, we all started, the Alexandrians, we all started together at the same time. We had this nice little group. I was sad about Jessie. She's lovely. I just loved working with her. She's so sweet. And they didn't show it, but in the comic books, Jessie and Olivia have a very, very, very strong friendship.
But to be honest, were you sad about Sam?
No, I was sad about
I'll be honest for a minute.
You guys are so mean.
I was sad about Sam. I'm like the only person I know.
You know, the thing that made me sad about Sam was everybody got mad at him for calling his mom's name out. And I'm like, he's a little boy. He's never seen anything like this. He's terrified, you know?
Let's be honest, it was Carol's fault.
I mean, whatever terror he would have had was amplified by the fact that he's imagining being tied alone to a tree and eaten by one of these guys. So I have nothing but sympathy for that little boy, you know, in that situation, having kids of my own, you know. So.
When we did the Walking Dead panel at Pensacon a couple months ago, that was the very question that Tim opened the session up to. He's like, what does that say about us as a society that so many people are like, you saw this little boy, and Sam was the first child we saw getting, you know, Sophia, we saw the after effects, and the little boy in pajamas that Sam saw walking among the crowd, you know, was already a zombie. We didn't see what happened. But Sam was the first child that we as an audience saw get eaten. And everybody's like, thank God! You know, and what does that say about us as a society that everybody was happy?
Not everybody. I'm on record as not being happy.
In
He's on record as not being
general,
happy.
very true. Not everybody, but in general, the response was, yes, the little kid.
Well, it was like
finally.
the first episode of the first season when the little girl zombie, she gets shot. That was the first time they've ever, like on television,
Killed a kid.
they've ever seen a kid get shot. And people were like, oh my God, you can't do that. Now they're cheering.
Well, that's because,
for
once
kids
again,
to-
it's that same thing. It's like everybody who watches the show thinks that they're like the survivors. But they're not. They're more like the Alexandrians. I mean, you know, I was in New York for 9/11, and I was in New Orleans for Katrina. And I can tell you, people don't behave like their own. People are freaking out and scared. You know,
Probably not hang out with you too much. You're in all these places.
San Francisco.
Yeah.
Never go.
Don't do it.
Never go anymore.
met in San Francisco, Andreas just suddenly just clapped, so, you know, you need to stay away
But the
from that.
rock
Okay,
will be there,
great.
so everything will work.
Just since yesterday, I'm leaving tonight.
Do either of you watch the show? I mean, I know some actors are like, oh, I don't want to see myself.
I watch it. Yeah, I
I
watch
watch it, like, if I'm not on it, I'll watch it with my friends.
Yeah.
You know, get excited to see it. My friends used to hate watching it with me. So like, that's me, that's me. We had to watch it twice. They would watch it without me, then I would get to watch it. That's me, that's me. Where's everybody? That's me.
How far in advance are your scripts? Like, how far into the season do you know? Like, when y'all started filming 6A, did you know that Negan was going to be in the finale
No.
at that point?
No.
How far in advance?
Oh, I get my script 3 days before I film. And I don't even get the pages that I'm not on. See, I'm not a series regular. That is a luxury for series regulars only. They get the full script. If you're a guest star or anything lower, you only get the pages that you're on, which I kind of like because it allows me to watch the show and enjoy it kind of like a fan. They tell me the pieces that I need to know if they're not in my pages so that I can react proper and, you know, considering what's going on. Like, you know, these people are dead now. And you're like, okay, that would affect me, you know, all of those people being dead would affect me. So I need to know that and add that into my homework notebook and, like, you know, when I got the news and how I got the news and all that.
That's what I like about with so many of us walkers, and we know each other, and we didn't work one day, we're like, what did you do yesterday? Like, who died yesterday? I showed up one day on the farm, and there's like 3 graves, and we were like, holy crap, who is this? So we're looking around like, who's here, who's not here? So we're asking everybody, were you here yesterday? What happened with it? So we kind of fill each other in. They don't give us the script, they'll just kind of read, this is what you're doing today, you're going to be chasing this person.
You just said it all.
Here's the thing. I've never met a more loving, awesome, rabid group of fans. I will say that as a woman who's not a size 2, when I first started on the show, I was dismayed by the number of people who were like, fat in the Fanstein. How are you so fat in the apocalypse? And I was like, wow, you know? So I was dismayed by that, but then I just kind of decided to take a real positive spin on it. And on Twitter, I do a lot of really, like, body positive things for women. Like I would love to show you my blood man. My blood pressure is amazing. I'm actually an athlete. I do a lot of crazy martial arts, and I'm strong and all that. I'm just not a fit girl. Never have been. So that dismayed me, but then I realized I had to just freaking toughen up because that was going to be how it was going to be. So, you know, Denise got the same thing. Merit Weaver got the same thing. You know, people like, the fatty had to go get a soda and now she's dead. I'm like, wow, would you ever say that to someone to their face? And that's the thing with the internet for me, is that, like, things that you would never in a million years feel okay saying to someone to their face, but you'll sit back there and type it and hit send. Because you don't have to see the person's face. Louis C.K. talked about this. You don't have to see the person's face as they react, like, oh my God, you know? And you don't know people's history. So I think I try to switch positive stuff. I started in ballet. So of course, I got that all the time growing up. I didn't tell my parents because I didn't want them to put me out of ballet class. But I got that growing up all the time. And there's some kind of match that we make between not being very, very slender and being unhealthy. And that's definitely not the case with me. But so that's something that dismayed me. But then the flip side is once I started saying, like, hey, guess what? You can be not really tiny and super healthy and like you should love yourself and all this. Then like the girls started coming out of the woodwork and they're like, yeah, you know. So the flip side of it's been awesome.
Kind of along the same, more towards the story, I guess. Do the writers take into account the fan reaction to say the fake out with Glenn and the Denise's?
I don't know, because I don't know if we don't really know what they come up with first, and then if they do follow that, we don't know if they change it or not. We just a script and that's how it goes.
Because I think that was the first time on the show that I actually got mad at the show with the whole Glenn fake out.
Yeah.
Thing.
Well, I mean, I think that they've got to plan on some level overall what's going to happen the whole season, because you have to kind of, the people who are the series regulars in particular, you kind of feel like you're going to be in 10 out of 16 episodes or 12 out of 16 episodes, and where those are going to land and whatever. So I think they do some general stuff. They do react to how much fans like a character.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that's why Daryl will be around forever.
Yeah. And after season 5, they wrote a lot of stuff for Olivia. Because they were waiting to kind of see how people would take to her. There was the fat scenes people. But then there were a lot of people who were like, oh, it's so nice to see that normal size girl on the show. You know, like, yeah. So I think that they were like, yay! There's a, you know, so they took that into account. And hopefully, if I make it through tonight, next season.
You didn't say that. I'll really wait for it.
I know.
Do you think that, now that the doctor girl has died, that Olivia may step up to sort of help them to?
I don't know. If she were to step into something like that, I would feel like it would be more natural medicine. Because she's kind of more of a hippie. You know, she knows how to bake bread, she knows how to cure meat, she's kind of like a down to earth that way. You know, she ran that coffee shop. So I think, I don't know. I don't know what their plans are for her. I'm fascinated to see if I make it tonight.
I would love to see her hand the peace.
Bring out that piece baby. Well, she does. She says something in the comic books later. She's baking bread, I think at the Hilltop, and she says, you know, Rick comes in and says, "Wow, I miss this smell." Something. She goes, "Bread, not bullets. That's what I've been waiting to do. I'm waiting for the day when we can sell bread instead of bullets." You know, so I think she's more of a peacemaker. So we'll see. I don't know. We'll see if they stick with that. She has some fun stuff coming up with Negan in the comic book.
More questions, comments, or discussion?
What's that? I actually don't know, because I didn't get that. I didn't get that part of the script. So
you literally don't know.
I literally don't know. So it's kind of nice because I don't have to be like, I don't know. I don't even tell my husband stuff because why?
Does he watch it?
He doesn't watch it. He's a musician. He doesn't watch a lot of what I do. He doesn't like to watch me gruesome things either. Even though he watched me have a C-section. Somehow that's okay. On television.
Running from zombies is not okay, but C-section is.
C-section's fine.
Gotta draw the line somewhere.
Right.
Yes, the hard part is when you do know something, trying to hold it in for
Yeah.
6 months. Like I knew the whole Sophia and the barn thing, and I'm surprised I held it in. I didn't just like finally just crack and let it go.
Sophia in the Barn was my single favorite moment on this show so far. Everybody gives season 2 so much crap because they're like, nothing happened. And I'm like, a ton happened.
It was a slow build for the story.
But it worked.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you had Shane and Otis, that whole situation.
A lot of people got mad with it because they thought it was like those
Oh,
zombies.
So, like,
A lot of people get mad with the show for in certain seasons because there was a lot of stuff that were like, oh, there's too much drama, too much like, you know, daytime drama, and there's no about zombies. Like, you have to have the drama to get to the
You
rest
do,
of the
you
show.
have those breather moments.
If you have
I mean,
constant
if it's-
zombie, you're just gonna go, okay, well, no, I'm done with this now.
Exactly.
You get burnt out.
You have to build a character.
Yes, we do look
If
at
you
that.
don't build a character, you don't have a show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I said, it's not a show about zombies, it's a show about people.
Yep.
Yep.
I agree with you.
Zombies are just plus.
Having
Where's
been,
supporting character?
well, but I mean, having been through both Katrina and 9/11, I can tell you that it makes a lot of sense to me that it's not about the zombies. I mean, insert anything here, insert Ebola here, right? You saw how everybody flipped out about Ebola, right? Insert, you know, what was that thing everybody was scared about, bird flu not too long ago? Insert hurricane, insert SARS, insert tornado here. It's that threat, whatever it is, and then how the people survived, and then if once you survive, what's left of you? You know, yeah.
Do you get worried when they start building your character arc? Because it seems like every time we get a character arc, like Denise, just, that's probably the most shocking experience I've had the second half of this season. Because I kind of knew what was coming with Sam and Jesse and that kind of thing. But when Denise got the arrow to the eye, I was like, crap.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that holds true, but at the same time, though, I mean, it's also one of those things, I thought about this a lot, where I mean, it would be very uninteresting if a character you haven't heard of and didn't care about for like 8 episodes suddenly dies, you know? So they want to at least bring them to the forefront of everyone's mind before they do something. There's a ton of times where they bring someone to the forefront like that, and then nothing happens to them. That happens all the time too. You know?
I guess my question
Oh,
is, are you
one's
getting nervous
awesome.
if they start giving you more?
I don't know. I mean, I'll be 40 in 2 weeks. I've been acting since I was 10 years old. I kind of take everything in stride. I have a great amount of faith in a larger plan for my life, and I'm writing 2 now. I have 5 television series I've written that are 3 that are being pitched, 2 are in development. So I've written stuff for myself and them. So I think there'll be something else out there, but I hope the ride doesn't end soon. I love working on this show. So, but I have a piece about it. Just whatever needs to serve the story needs to serve the story. I mean, that's what I'm there for. I'm part of a story and I'm here to serve whatever part that is, for however long it is. And hopefully when I'm gone, people will miss me and not go, yes, finally, that girl is dead.
They won't call you Sam.
If nobody does, I'll be the guy.
You will? Make a video, please. Make sure it goes
I
viral.
would never do that.
I think one amazing aspect of the show, and I can only say this for myself, but there's not a character on the show that I would cheer now if that character were to die.
Even Tobin.
You care.
I love Tobin.
But you care about all the characters on there. It comes right back to the whole, it's the character.
Yeah.
My big beef with the way they handled Glenn wasn't that they killed him off or faked him. My beef was this was a beloved character from season 1, and he was a good character, but even if he was an evil character, it was still somebody on the show that you cared about, and they gave him such a glorious death. It was emotional, it was sudden, it was unexpected. My wife screamed at the TV when he fell. And then it robbed that character.
Fool you!
Yeah, it was such a wonderful moment in the storytelling. You know, I didn't want to see Glenn die. I was like, no, not Glenn. But then when you found out that he crawled under a dumpster, it was just like, now no matter how they kill him, they're not going to match that emotional moment.
You ever think they did that? Well, do you ever think they did that on purpose to test out what would happen?
Oh, yeah.
Because people are always posting things like, if this person dies, I'm never watching the show again. If this person dies, I'm never watching the show again. And not just one person, it's not just, we all know they all say Daryl. I know about Daryl. You don't hear about Daryl, about Carol, about Rick, about Carl. Everybody's got their favorites.
Oh, you have to admit, for a long time there,
That-
nobody cared about
Yeah.
Carl.
Back to season 2.
Nobody cares about Carl.
But I'm not saying they did it on purpose. I'm just saying, like, maybe they wanted to see what the fan reaction would be and if people would actually not tune in the next week.
Yeah.
You know? But the reality is that that's what the show's about. People are gonna die. That's what it's about. You know, it's a zombie apocalypse.
Got a
So,
question for everybody in here, for the crowd. One second. The season finale's tonight. Somebody is going to die. Who would you pick? Who would you like to see go?
Daryl.
Not.
Record,
he's gonna need security.
I've said many times.
Yes.
I've said many times that I want to be the one to take out Daryl. I found out that in Germany, very few of them like Daryl, so they think they're my people. And yeah, somebody asked me in a panel, like, well, we heard that you don't like Daryl. I'm like, oh yeah, I want to be the one to take him out. And I thought for sure they were going to rally against me. They're like, we don't like Daryl either. I'm like, yes, you are my people.
So do you get along?
No, I love Roman Reigns. I don't like the character of Daryl. I don't see it. He doesn't do much for me. He's like a dirty guy.
He does plenty for me.
The only reason I never really liked the trade well to the character of Daryl because the show continued the same as it would even without him. In certain situations, like if you look at the comic book, he wasn't in the comic book at all.
Yeah.
Daryl's the kind of guy
Yeah,
that down here in the South, we think everybody, all the rednecks are gonna be Daryl, you know?
I think
It's
that's
always
what-
happened.
All the rednecks want to be
That's
there.
my cousin there, you know? We know Daryl.
Hi, everybody. Okay, so we are starting to run out of time, unfortunately. I want to make sure that we thank our wonderful panelists for coming in.
Follow me. I'm on Twitter at Annie Moho, ANNIEMOHO. Please go follow me. I'd like to keep up with everybody.
Me too, I have all my information on my banner.
Follow them on Twitter. And Michael was nice enough to create a prize for us since we didn't have a prize, because otherwise the prize is going to be Claire will give you a hug. Would you be surprised? That's actually really special. I don't give a lot of people hugs.
Yeah, no, since the people in charge dropped the ball with the pop vinyl, I will totally give a signed autograph to whoever has the winning ticket.
Everyone got really excited. Thanks, guys.
I'll let you mind pick a ticket.
Okay. Do I read all the numbers?
Yeah, you read all the numbers.
Okay. 869640.